It's Peter with Bear Bull Traders, and I wanted to share with you today my journal and the 4 trades I made on the day. This is the cover page for my journal. In it, I track a number of things, including I give myself a score on the day. This is not my profitable versus losing trades, but how maturely I managed the trade and did I follow my rules. So today I give myself a 3.5 out of 4 that I'll explain. I put some general commentary in here. I track, obviously, my P&L, you can see down here, but I also track the missed trades. So the missed trades are really ones where, I could have taken them. I was watching them. I tracked them from the beginning, and I should have taken them. Tesla here was a great example of a trade I really should have taken. There's no excuse other than Tesla sometimes can make me nervous, and I chose not to take it. So I did take it in the afternoon with some good results, but this was a $14 move. So even if I traded it with very small size, it could have blown my day. It would have been fantastic. But anyways, missed it. I track my targets for the day. So what am I looking to achieve? So today I was taking a $100 risk per trade, profit target of about $500, and a stop loss of $300. So essentially this means I could have 3 more losing trades than winning trades on the day before I would stop myself out. Finally, I also track my mental state in terms of how I feel I'm doing, and that gives me an indication. And I actually used it today because I was tired. I knew that I wasn't at 100%. So this just, when I put this down at the beginning of the day, I make sure I'm really aware of it, and I may trade more cautiously, such as I did today. So let's start with Petrobras. That was my first trade of the day, and unfortunately, it was a loser. I sort of chased this a little bit. It was an opening range breakdown that I was willing to give myself 20 cents. So I entered here at 15.38 roughly, and the VWAP was up here at 15.58. So I figured it was a 20-cent risk that I was willing to take, which then determined my share size of 500 shares. So at $100 at 20 cents. That gives me 500 shares that I could trade on the day. So my entry was, I said I chased it, but what I did is when I saw the move went directly against me and the original conditions I was looking to trade on were broken, I exited the trade. If it had gone up a little more slowly, I might have allowed it to move a little farther towards VWAP, but being it went up with strength, I just exited the trade and figured I could re-enter if conditions existed. When the conditions represented, I was looking at other things and I didn't feel confident, so I did not go back into this trade. You see, I could have entered it here and taken that move down, but I didn't at that point. Now, Andrew took a very similar trade, and I was probably influenced by his commentary as well. But my one trade was a loser on Petrobras. So the next trade was MU. So on MU, I was actually pretty happy with this trade. So we do this pattern that happens all the time. It breaks down below the VWAP, it comes back up. So I like the VWAP trades. So as soon as I saw it breaking the VWAP, so it actually pulled up and went back down. Again, that's even better confirmation. So I took it on the second time through. That trade I took, now I wasn't that confident because it is MU and it can sometimes move against me. So I took a partial here at only 10 cents. I took another partial up, that was about another 10 cents. And I really, frankly, I should have only taken one of these two. It's okay that I was nervous on this first one, but once I took that partial, I should have held and only taken an X partial up here. Now, this one, I didn't dock myself on my maturity, but I was tired and I actually made 2 hawk years. See these ads? Those were not intentional. I actually meant to sell at this point and sell again at this point because I knew that my ultimate target was here at the previous day close. So once I made the error and I basically added another 50% into my size instead of selling 50%, I just held it to the point where it became green again and then I exited immediately. I do that because I'm not willing to take on more risk, because if it drops against me, then obviously it's a bigger share size to drop. So I gave it a couple of cents to make sure at least I could make my money back in commissions, which I did. After the couple of cents played out, I just got out. I got out of the same amount that I added, and then I really just held through this at that point. I probably should have sold some more here because that was my target, but I thought, well, I'll hold at this point. It broke back down below the 20 moving average, which is my green line, and I got all out of the trade. So my third trade of the day, so that was it for the morning. Then I didn't trade through the lunch hours when everything started to drop. I missed some of the initial moves, and that's where Tesla could have played out. In fact, Tesla here was where I was watching it, and I was just basically kicking myself for a good hour and a half for having missed that trade and a couple of others that were out there playing it really well. But the next trade I took was on AMD. I took a reversal on that. Now this was in a different account, so I actually had to add back in manually the markers, but I just took it out of my journal and marked it in here. But what I did was this was actually a fantastic entry. I pretty much took it right at the bottom. So 136 was when my entry was in right here. And oh, and I failed to mark it on this side of the track over here. But sorry, 125. Sorry, on this one was when I entered. And at 125, I pretty much said, okay, so the 2610 actually here was a level that was holding fairly well. So when it dropped below that, but it sort of bounced off of 26, I took the risk and said, I'm going to enter here. I'm going to take a 10-cent risk, and that would put me at a new low of the day and below the 26 marker. And as it turned out, it didn't go below that again. It popped up. I sold some fairly quickly because, again, I wasn't confident of the move. But once it clear it was happening, I basically just sold on the pullbacks. So here it came up and it pulled back. I sold some here. It came up and pulled back fairly significantly. This one I wrote out because I thought, well, I've already taken 2 partials. I'm down to a quarter size. Let's just see. I usually hold the quarter size for break even or a big move. So this one, when it pulled back, I said, okay, I'm going to hold. It came up and it pulled back a second time. And I said, all right, well, this could be a double top. So if it's a double top, then I'm going to take a partial. So now I'm down to 1/8 of my size. And I just held it, and being that my target was VWAP up here, I know AMD sometimes hits it, sometimes pulls back a bit. So it came within like 5 cents at this point, pulled back, and I got out the rest of my shares saying, I may regret this, but I thought that was going to be a good target. As it turns out, I could have held it right up to the VWAP, but frankly, it wasn't worth it, and it was a pretty good trade overall because it didn't really go much higher, you can see here. So very happy with that trade all in all. Tesla I took closely to it. So this is the one I took at 136. You can see that I had my entry here, and I was kicking myself because I thought maybe I screwed up. I held this one. I took a $1 risk on this. So my risk was a full $1. I entered it almost exactly at 250. Thinking that my risk was down here at 249, which is just below the bottom candle. I said, all right, well, I'm going to hold it to get at least $1 then on my first partial. This came up to 250.80, and I thought, oh, crap. When it started to drop, I thought, did I miss my opportunity, especially when it came back below my entry, but again, never to my stop loss. So I held. Sure enough, it shot up, and I sold on the spike. So I sold half here at 251. I sold another half at 252, and then it sort of did this waffling in here, and then once it felt to me like it wasn't going much higher, I sold out at 251.50 thereabouts. So you can see, it didn't really go much higher for the rest of the day. In fact, I think it dropped. When I took this picture, it was probably just after 340, and I think it dropped back below 250 for the day. So those are my trades on the day, and I hope that's helpful. Look forward to talking to everybody in the chat room.